Coming up on today's FNN, what standardized test scores really mean.
Plus, how athletes handle the reality of an injury.
And we have football playoff highlights, plus we get ready for winter sports. Stay tuned for all that and more because FNN starts now. Happy Friday, Falcons. I'm Eliesa.
And I'm Trenton.
Over the last several years, student literacy scores in the state of Michigan have been dropping, with only 39% of third graders and 40% of fourth graders scoring proficient on the ELA portion of the M-STEP. FNN reporter Deisha Bobo spent time learning more about the issue.
3 parts of our list.
There are some days that students always look forward to. Homecoming, prom, and graduation to name a few. There are also days that students dread, testing days, like the M-STEP and the SAT. State and national test scores have continued to drop to historically low levels, particularly when it comes to student literacy. For Dr. Elizabeth Stowell, professor in literacy studies at Grand Valley State University, the issue may not be the testing itself, but rather how we teach students when they are young.
So I think the solution actually comes before they make it to adolescence. So create curriculum that seems more relevant, that is culturally responsive, that honors the literacies that they're engaged in outside of school, that thinks about the new ways that students read based on technology.
Students need success from an early age to help them succeed as they get older. When students understand more deeply what they are studying and why they are studying it, it helps motivate them to continue wanting to learn. Javon Alexander, a senior student athlete from East Kentwood High School, is an example of this, having found a love for writing at a young age. This love led to extra motivation in the form of signing up for an AP English class, helping to build a better foundation for college.
I would describe my literacy skills as something I take pride in, especially like the long way that I came. On a writing scale, I really do love writing. I've taken a lot of AP language class. I'm an AP Lit right now. I took AP Ling last year. What I want to do in the future, it's going to require great literacy. So just staying with it and just staying to the process.
It's easy to teach students who are more engaged and motivated, but that's not always the case, as some students may struggle with finding motivation. Students have lives outside of the classroom that directly impact their ability to learn. Mr. Howell, an English teacher at EK that works with multilingual learners, has found that students who are struggling when it comes to reading and writing just have not found what they are good at, yet.
The thing about those state tests is we can give them tips and tricks all day long. Biggest thing I tell my students is when it comes to tests, a grade is never going to replace who they are as people. So I don't want them to get too wrapped up in those kinds of things. Yes, those test scores are important. Yes, it's important that you do your best. That's not as important to me. What's more important to me is that they understand that they made improvements.
Even though standardized test scores are decreasing, it's not entirely the students' or the teacher's fault. Students just haven't found their learning strategies yet. At East Kentwood, I'm Deisha Bobo.
While standardized testing is rarely fun, it is still important for things like college scholarships and sometimes even in the job market.
For most students, being an EK athlete is one of the most enjoyable parts of high school. Being a part of a team, the bus rides, the good times after every win. But what happens to an athlete if those moments are taken from them? FNN reporter Darius Calvert sat down with a pair of EK athletes who experienced the lowest of lows right as they were reaching the top of their sport.
Reynolds and Alexander, and it's going to be Reynolds. PR from Lorenzo Reynolds in the lead at 22, 0 points. What a run for Lorenzo Reynolds, the sophomore.
Every athlete knows the rush of victory, wanting to prove themselves after lots of sacrifices, silent mornings, and hours of hard work. It's addictive. It's the feeling that fuels every rep, every drill, every drop of effort. But sooner or later, every athlete also meets a wall, an obstacle, an injury, a moment when the body or mind says enough. It's in these moments that show when true athletes are born. It's easy to love winning, but what happens when there's something in your way? East Kentwood junior track star Lorenzo Reynolds learned this the hard way last May, when his state championship hopes came to an end when he hyperextended his knee just weeks before the state finals.
It was definitely tough. Emotions was flying all over the place. It just felt like I couldn't do anything about it. I was still rated high. They projected me the day before to get second place, but my goal was to win. And it was just like, it was all took from me within a flash. I was just mad, kind of sad, disappointed in myself that I couldn't jump to the best of my abilities, because I knew what I brought to the table the whole year, what I worked for the past year, and it was just kind of like a dull moment for me, getting to see everybody reach the podium, and I couldn't do anything about it. Physical therapy, they helped me realize that it was more than just about working out. You gotta take care of your body, know what you're doing, eating right. You gotta do all the little things that matter. We basically just worked on strengthening it. The mental part, it was just knowing that I'm getting better and realizing that it's a process.
It's not just about coming back physically from a severe injury. There's something much more important, the athlete's mental state. You need to be able to push yourself and believe that you are healthy and ready to compete again. Mental health therapist Spencer Palma works in the world of sports psychology and helps athletes bounce back from moments like this, moments when it seems like all hope is lost.
So athletes, I think the biggest thing to consider when it comes to loss or injury is that athletics is very performance-based. So when you think about it in that aspect, when you can't perform, when you're not capable, maybe your body's disabled or your mind's disabled, it really plays into, a lot of it really comes down to challenging those negative thoughts and providing clues that kind of debunk those negative thoughts, and in return help build their self-confidence while they're not performing the way that they would like to.
What hurts more than just any injury or loss is when it happens during that big moment you've been working so hard for. Every drop of sweat, tears, every hour of work and dedication gone within seconds. Last year, East Kentwood track star Logan Richardson was one of the fastest girls in the state and was heavily favored to take home multiple first-place medals at the state track meet. Then, during her first run of the day, those dreams were finished.
So I feel like I've always been a very persevering person. Like, I've never really been the type to back down, and I just kind of kept telling myself, like, you have to make it. Like, you can't let this moment define you. Like, it definitely hurt, like, physically and mentally when I had gotten hurt, but I just knew that I had to keep it pushing. I couldn't let an injury like this really define my character. It was just like a moment to make me better.
As Spencer Palma said, when you hit a milestone, it's important to stay positive, grow your self-confidence up, and challenge those negative thoughts. At East Kentwood, I'm Darius Calvert.
For athletes and for anyone at East Kentwood, it's just as important to take care of your mental health as it is your physical health.
Social media is where we connect, share, and spend hours of our day. But for many students, that constant connection can come with a cost, as experts say it can impact the student's mental health and focus in ways that we may not always realize. Reporter Jennifer Gao takes a closer look at how social media may be doing more harm than good.
Social media has become an essential part of everybody's life. According to the University of Maine, there are 4.8 billion social media users worldwide. But just because everyone is doing it, does that mean that you should? The Mental Health Foundation reported that 60% of young people feel stressed and overwhelmed by the pressure on social media. Karen Burrows, a deputy from East Kentwood High School, sees social media a little differently.
How much time do you want to spend on social media, right? Are you missing out on the important things of the world by being on social media? Are you just watching social media to catch up? A lot of times we don't realize that social media is not real, right? People only put out there the good and the worst.
In today's world, students spend twice the amount of their time on social media as they used to, as stated by Paul Research Center. Even though students might think that the digital world is a safe place to be, that's not always the case. Mr. Bays, an AP psychology teacher at East Kentwood High School, emphasizes that many young people face online dangers such as predator because of how unprotected they are on the internet.
Two things that they talk about in the anxious generation is that right now in our society that kids are sometimes overprotected in the real world, but they are very much underprotected in the digital world. That combined with other pressures causes a lot of mental health issues, yeah.
Many high schools has implemented a new phone policy that requires students to put their phone up in a holder before class. By doing so, it can help students concentrate more on what they're learning in class instead of being distracted and scrolling on social media. The new phone policy may be a hassle for some, but Winter Carey, a senior at EK, has seen the benefit firsthand.
So when like I put my phone up like in the pocket, like in math class, like I'm more engaged and ready to learn. But like when I don't have it and it's on me and it's like right there in my face or like in my backpack, I'm on it, I'm scrolling.
Social media can connect us with others, but at the same time blur reality. It's up to us to find a healthy balance between the digital world and the real world. At EK, I'm Jennifer Gao.
Finding the balance between staying connected and staying healthy is not the easiest, but it's worth it.
And that wraps up your news this week, Falcons.
Now let's toss it over to FNN sports reporter Reese Emiot for your EK Sports Report.
Welcome back to the Land Falcons. It's Reese here bringing your EK Sports Report. Starting off at Howell, our Falcons were looking to bring home their first district title since 2019. Let's check the highlights. Early in the first, Kate Kaufman dishes it to Owen Vanderveen, who breaks 2 tackles and finds the end zone for 6 for the early touchdown. Later in the game, Jesse Phillips takes it and punches it through Howell's defense for the touchdown. Right before half, Kate Kaufman takes a snap, rolls right, throws it off his back foot across his body, and finds Mighty Edmonds for his second touchdown of the night to put the Falcons up 2 scores. Kate Kaufman drops back and finds Mighty Edmonds again for Kate's 5th touchdown of the night, 3 of them to Mighty Edmonds. Mighty set a D1 playoff record for the most receiving yards in a playoff game with 271 yards. The Falcons win 49-41, bringing the district title back to Kentwood. Our Falcons are ready for their rematch at Hudsonville tomorrow for the regional title at 1 p.m. Make sure to buy your tickets on GoFan. A pair of postseason updates for the rest of fall sports. First off, our volleyball girls unfortunately lost to Forest Hill Central in the district tournament, which ends their season. Good job on a hard-working season, and we can't wait to see the next team back out there again next fall. Over in the pool, our girls swim and dive team placed 5th at the conference meet. Ayla Wiltrout earned herself a place at the state finals in the 100-meter breaststroke. Congrats, Ayla. Over at the ice arena, our EK hockey team is welcoming back head coach Phil Sweeney. Phil served as head coach at Davenport University men's hockey program for 10 seasons, compiling more than 220 wins and leading the team to 8 seasons of 20-plus victories. The hockey team has their season debut at home tonight against Granville at 7 and back at the house tomorrow against West Ottawa at 3:10. Last but not least, EK Wrestling is welcoming a pair of new head coaches as well. Eric Franzen is taking over as the new boys varsity head coach, while Tom Bennett will serve as the first ever girls varsity wrestling head coach. Wrestling practice for both teams starts next week. That wraps up this week's sports report. We'll be back next week with playoff highlights and we'll have the latest on winter sports. Now let's pass it back to the desk.
Thanks, Reese.
Now let's wrap up this week's show. Here's a quick sneak peek at my personal fun segment, Behind the Falcon. I personally chose 3 different EK staff members to bring their oldest, most unique, or even handmade EK gear and explaining the story of why that stood out over their entire collection.
So one of the oldest shirts I have would be my first athletic training polo shirt.
It's my East Kentwood basketball sweatshirt.
A favorite memory shirt. I'll have you guys look it up to what Guitar Hero was.
This was just recently made for the varsity kids.
One of my most unique ones.
For this tennis team is we make these huge posters that go out there on the courts.
Stellar pair of overalls from Goodwill.
Catch the full episode on YouTube. And that does it for today's show. We'll be back next Friday with more. But until then, make sure to follow us on Instagram and subscribe to Falcon News Network on YouTube, where you can catch sports, live streams, previous episodes, and other great content.
Plus, check out Falcon News Network on Spotify for our new season of podcasts and tune into our live radio station.
Have a great week, and we'll see you next Friday.